Okay, I'm recording here. I'm already dusty. All right, hit the record button. And so today I'm going to teach you how to make some bread. Are you ready? Do you like bread? I like bread. Warm, fresh out of the oven with melted butter, bread. Bread is actually kind of easy. It's a little time consuming because you have to mix it, let it rise for an hour, punch it down, shape it, let it rise another hour, let it rest for a few more minutes, and then stick it in the oven and bake for about 30 minutes. So it is an easy recipe, and today I'm going to show you how to make it. Are you ready? First thing you need is 6 cups of flour. That's a lot of flour. Baking is a science, so you have to have accurate measurements, which I am not a fan of because when I cook, I like to just throw things together and taste it and go and taste as I go. But in this case, I have to measure everything. So I have exactly 6 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 2 cups of warm water. Now you want your water to be about 110 degrees because you're going to add yeast. And yeast is alive. It's living, but really you have to proof your yeast. So when you drop your yeast, it's got to be about 110 degrees, and it feeds off of the sugar. So you got to put the sugar in the warm water and the yeast, and then wait for a few minutes and it proofs. And I'm going to show you how that happens right now. So first thing I want to do is I want to test the temperature of this thing. So I'm going to get my handy dandy thermometer probe here. And we're going to see what the temperature is. And right now it's saying it's about 101. So I'm going to throw it in the microwave for about 15 seconds just to bring the temperature up a little bit. You don't want it boiling, but you do want it warm. And honestly, that 101 degrees is probably warm enough, but I've always been told 110 degrees, so that's what I'm going to shoot for. All right, what do we got now? Look at that, 109.9. Can't get much closer than that. 1 packet of yeast into your 110 degree water. Add your sugar and your salt. Stir it up a little bit until your yeast is dissolved. And then from there it's just a waiting game. So we're going to wait for that to proof a little bit, and you'll know that because it'll start sort of foaming and bubbling on top. Once that starts, you can move on to the next step. Excuse me while I let my dog in. Come on, girl. Baking bread is not difficult. The difficult part is patience. You have to wait for the yeast to proof. You have to wait for the dough to rise. Everything is a waiting game. The mixing is the easy part. It's really simple ingredients. You just have to wait for it to rise and fall and proof and bake. And that's all time consuming. So right now there's not much left to do except for wait for this. How long does this usually take?
5-7 minutes.
5-7 minutes?
3-5 minutes maybe.
So we'll check back in about 5 minutes. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. And as you can see from the little foamy things and the bubbles popping on top, this is ready to go. So the next step is to take your proofed yeast, pour your yeast into your mixer, add about 3 cups of flour, and you're going to want to use a dough hook. And then put your blender on a 3. And then as it's mixing and it starts to form a dough, you just slowly add the rest of the flour to the mixture. Sometimes you want to just scrape the sides a little bit. So as you can see, it's pulling away from the sides and it's forming a dough. And that's how you know it's getting close to being done. So now, as you can see, it's all pulled away from the sides, so the dough is done. And you can take off your dough hook here. Put a little flour down on your work surface here, and basically pull it out, and then knead it a little bit. The kneading is a lot of work, even though the blender did most of the work, but it's an important step into good bread. So like I said, this is a very important step. You'll see the dough actually start forming into a to a more cohesive ball of dough. And like I said, you'll really notice the difference when it bakes. So put the time in, and you'll see, okay? And then once you're done, you want to just tuck it all under until you form a ball. And what I didn't do, and I should have done while it was mixing, was I didn't grease my pan over there. But basically, just pull it back till you get a nice little balloon-looking roll of dough. Good old-fashioned cooking spray. Just spray a bowl and take and put it in there, rotate it. And then cover it up. And then put it someplace where there's no draft, slightly warm. I like to just stick it in the oven. The oven's not on. And then let it rise for an hour. So I'll come back in an hour, and it should have doubled in size. And then I'll show you the next step. All right, so it's been an hour. Now we're going to pull it out of its nice, cozy, warm spot. And we're going to see that it should have rose. See that? Look at that, doubled in size. So as you can see, it's doubled in size. And what you're going to do now is you're going to punch it down. Put a little flour on your workspace so it doesn't stick. Pull it out of the bowl. And then there's enough dough here for 2 loaves of bread. So I'm going to cut it in half. And then I'm going to form two loaves of bread. All right. And really, that's all there is to it. Now from here, what you're going to want to do is get yourself a cookie sheet. Lay down a little cornmeal. All right, spread it around. And then take your beautiful loaves and lay them right on your pan, okay? Get yourself a nice sharp knife and just score it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times across the top. All right, just like that. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is put a little egg whitewash across the top of them. So grab yourself an egg. You only need one. You don't want the yolk. Just a little egg white. A little egg whitewash, just a little on the top. Not much. Just to give it that nice little golden color while it's in the oven baking. All right. I messed up. Okay, so I should have let this rest another 5 minutes.
Doesn't it have to rise again?
Yes, it needs to ride another hour. I messed up, okay? That is one of the problems I have with baking. There's a lot of rises. So, I don't know if this is going to work or not. But I am going to let this rest an hour. But I shouldn't have put the egg wash on until it rose that final time. And I probably shouldn't have cut it until after the second hour. So I messed up. But I'm going to roll with it. We're going to let this rise for another hour. I'm going to cover it as if it never happened. And I'm going to lay it over here next to the warm oven that's preheating. And we're going to let it rise for another hour. After an hour, hopefully, if all things go right, I'll still have bread that I can throw in the oven and bake. So I'm a little concerned at this point. But I have faith that it's going to still work out. So we'll come back in an hour, we'll check the bread, and I guess we'll see what we got. We're going to look at it together, and we're going to see how they look after. All right, so they did rise a little bit. I'm going to stick them in the oven for 25 minutes, and I'm going to hope for the best. But I think they look pretty good. So I have pretty high hopes. All right, boom. I'm going to set the timer for 25 minutes at 400 degrees. And in 25 minutes, we'll pull it out and let's see how badly I messed up, or if I got lucky enough and maybe I didn't screw it up too bad after all. All right, so in 25 minutes, we'll come back and we'll show you. Oh, smacked me in the face. All right, so they're not as golden as I would have thought they would be, or as I wanted them to be. And that's probably because I put the whitewash on it before I let it rise, so it probably soaked in. So they're not perfect, by no means. Smells good. See all these little cracks right here? I don't know. I still think it's going to be good. So let's find out what we got. That looks, I don't know.
Steamy and hot. Is it cooked?
I don't know. I feel like it might be raw. Let's find out. Let's see what we got here.
Looks a little jiggly.
All right. I think it's cooked. Here. It's good, right? I mean, does it taste raw?
No.
But it's not perfect.
I feel like the outer edge here. I don't know. It's not, okay, it's not the bread that you made the last time.
No, it definitely
But
is.
it's good.
All right, so I did mess up and it didn't come out perfect. Do as I say, don't do as I do, because I didn't do it right, but I did explain to you how I should have done it. Listen, it didn't come out as good as my last loaf of bread, but it didn't come out unedible either. I don't know, I'm a little disappointed, but happy at the same time, because it tastes good. And I will eat it. But this has been Buck's Kitchen. How to make bread the wrong way. If you want to learn how to make other things wrong, come on back, because I'll make more videos. So, hello. I'm back. It's tomorrow, and I wanted to redeem myself, so I started over and I followed the steps that I explained to you, but I did them properly this time. And what a difference it makes. So I was successful this time around. I wanted to show everybody that I do know what I'm doing. And when I tell you how to make bread, I do know how to make bread. I've made bread before, but I made a mistake. And, mistakes happen in the kitchen. The bread wasn't terrible. I toasted it this morning, and it was edible, but it wasn't the best. And I was disappointed. So I started over. I followed the instructions the way I explained them. And as you can see, my bread came out beautiful. Look at this golden color. Nice little hollow sound. Boom. So let's cut this open and see how it looks. That is beautiful bread. Can you see that? Look at that flaky. Look at that soft inside. That's exactly how bread is supposed to look. Hey babies. My little doggies have come for a visit because they know bread. I just want you to get a really good look at this. See, this is how bread is supposed to look. All right, a little bit of butter. A nice piece of warm bread. Now that's good bread. So it just goes to show that you can make mistakes in the kitchen, but it's how you bounce back and redeem yourself. I regrouped, started over, and I was a success. This is real cooking, ladies and gentlemen. This is Buck's Kitchen. And sometimes things don't come out exactly as I plan when I cook. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more videos in the future. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give me a thumbs up, subscribe below, and we'll see you in the future. Thanks. Bye.